Hello and welcome to the Tim Johnson Show. Today I'm here with my co-host, Hubert Roberts, and we got some real talk we want to discuss with you, with our viewing audience today. And so take it, Hugh.
Well, today we really always want to come to our community with real good information that you can value and that you can use. Today we want to cover the topic with unemployment. There's a lot of information that's being misinformed in our community. One thing is the benefits that's being proposed or people are applying for the $600 for retirees or those individuals with SSI or our VA individuals. You would have to pay, if you apply for that $600, you're going to have to pay that back, dollar for dollar. So be careful. Make sure that you always read the fine print, but we want our community to know to be careful when you are applying for these packages that the government will get that money back. Give you an example. If you're on SSI and receive like $784, you apply for that $600 and you get it. The next month, they may take it out, and that means that you will get the balance of that may be $120. So your bills and all these other things, you will not be able to pay for them. So be careful about applying for these different packages. Now the $1,200 stimulus, you will get that. But this $600, please be careful in our community.
So real talk is just because they're giving you the money, because you ask for it and they give it to you, you're going to have to pay some of that money back. So you need to make sure you read the fine lines, and because some of that money will have to be paid back, or like Mr. Roberts said, they will be taking it back out of your future checks. So that's very important for a lot of people because they feel like they're getting that money and it's free money, and it's not free. It's not free. And as a matter of fact, most of the loans that they put out there up under this COVID-19, a lot of it you have to pay back.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yes. And all we're trying to do is inform our community. We got to help our community get out from under being afraid and not asking the questions. A lot of times we will not ask the questions. So that's another PSA we definitely want to share with our community. The next item we want to touch on right quick is unequal justice. A lot of times we get excited about events that's happening around the country. And one thing that me and Mr. Johnson want to really just touch on a little bit today is about just fairness across the board. Anytime someone violates the law or the Constitution, they should be held accountable no matter what their ethnicity is, no matter what their income level is. All of us should be governed responsibly under this Constitution that we live in up under.
It's true. It's true. And I think we can relate that to just the case that just happened. I believe it was in Georgia.
Yes. Brunswick.
Where a young man was out actually just jogging, minding his own business, hadn't did anything to anybody, just out for an afternoon jog, and all of a sudden he's attacked by 3 people, shot and killed. And I tell you, they almost was looking like they wasn't going to bring the 3 to justice in the very beginning, I guess, until the mother and the family members really pressed it. And it shouldn't have been pressed. This is fair and equal justice, supposed to be the United States of America, where everyone is receives the fair and equal treatment. And it just seems like, you know, these incidents just keep on happening, and the treatment is slow to come when it's against other people or people of color. It just seems like it's slow to come, and it's not right. It's not right. It really shouldn't have made a difference who or what color the guy was. They should have been brought to justice right away because they knew who did it. They I don't believe they called the police, did they?
No.
Yeah, the police was not called. They took it upon themselves to deal with this individual, and he had committed no crime. And again, I say it doesn't make a difference, or it does not make a difference what color he was. But the bottom line is they were not the police, they were not the prosecutor, and they certainly wasn't the judge. And it seemed like to me that's exactly how it played out. They acted as the prosecutor, the police, the prosecutor, and the judge, and they took the law in their own hands, and they should be dealt with.
And I think it's so important for us to really now, what the gentleman really did is he did call 911, and he told the 911 operator that someone was in a house and there was a house being built. And all of us that has been alive and we have seen new builds or what have you, we go in and look around or what have you. And so there was a call placed. The whole tracking the young man down and all that kind of stuff was totally unacceptable. And going back to how we all should look at one another as a whole and healthy human being. We should not And through this COVID-19, that suspicion that we have of one another, this is a time where we can start being reflective and doing some things differently and lovingly. We're not pointing fingers. What we're saying, we're asking all of our community, everyone that believes in humanity, to really step back and start engaging fairly with one another.
Until we start treating each other with the fairness, like you said, and treating each other with respect and love and kindness, until those things are done, we will always have problems in this in our community and and around the world when it comes to different races coming together and trying to live around with each other. And I just feel that this ain't the first incident, as we know. It's not the second, it's not the third, fourth, or fifth incident that happened. And where does it stop at? You know, everybody's life means something to someone. You know,
Yes.
whether they have a mom or a dad, a sister, brother, wife, or child, everybody, and regardless of what your color is, everybody means something to someone. And everybody should be treated fair until actually they break the law and it's proven that they did it.
Yes.
You know, and then of course justice needs to step in.
Yes.
That's the democracy that we live up under. But until that happens, no one should have the right to take the law into their own hand and feel like they can take out a gun and take someone's life and actually almost get away with it.
Yes.
Almost get away with it.
Yes.
And then your parents or your husband or wife got to go out there and complain to the legal system to get that person brought to justice. That just doesn't click with me. Not the laws that I have studied and the rules that I have lived up under. And I've been in the law enforcement for over 40 years now. In fact, a little longer than 40 years. And I tell you that the criminal justice system just don't seem to work in some parts of our country, and it's just not fair and it's not right. And that red, white, and blue flag that flies, and everybody grabs hold of that when something happened to the United States. Everybody want to come together and they want to fight then to hold up that banner, that red, white, and blue flag with all respect. And I tell you, and I've held that flag up in the military, and I tell you, it's honor, it's respect, it's loyalty for everybody. But that just doesn't seem to happen in our country today in some locations, and it's just sad that that's going on.
And so we can nip this and kind of corner this is saying that all of us, really, we need our allies, those of us in many different walks of life. Justice is in all of us. And if all of us saying that we're going to act accordingly and care about one another, these are some things that we can root out. We really can root these things out. Yes. Because it starts with the individual.
Yes.
One of our earlier shows, we talked about the behavior, and we used Regency condos as an example, or even a young man that was tragically murdered at the dollar store.
Yeah.
A lot of it starts in a child's thinking. It starts in the home, the devalue of oneself, or even bias and bigotry. It starts in children. Yeah. When we perpetuate it and we continue to have a tendency to embrace it and share it and live that out. So these are some things that we really can take advantage of and do. One thing we want to touch on a little bit is, you know, all of us want to get back to work. We have to be smart. We really have to be smart with this COVID-19. And all of us working together, we have to be smart. A lot of the demonstrations, a lot of the behavior that's taking place, you know, we can't afford to be on one side and on the other side. It has to be the science side.
I think there's a verse in the Bible that speaks on that. Love your neighbor as thyself. And that's powerful. How do you love your neighbor as yourself? In other words, that was taught to myself many years ago. Because we grew up in mixed neighborhoods, and we sat at different tables. I've sat at people's tables where I couldn't even understand their language, but they lived in our neighborhood, whether it was a Japanese family or whatever. But the son that I was friends with, I could relate to him. He could talk English, but his parents couldn't.
Right.
And and even right now, as a lot of the cities, we have an Arabic population that if they're speaking in Arabic, I can't understand it, but I have friends, family friends of theirs that when they can speak English, and then they can tell me what the mom or dad is saying.
Right.
And I tell you, this is a time to love on each other. We should be so far past all of that stuff that happened in the past. that we should be pulling on each other, and we should have gotten so close by now.
Right.
This wouldn't even be a conversation of ours.
Right.
But this is the conversation that we're still having in 2020, that there's just people out there that don't respect the life of someone else, and we're losing our citizens on the drop of a dime just because of the different color of our skin, or he said something that I didn't appreciate and I didn't like, and instead of trying to talk to the man or lady about it, we're ready to resort to taking violence out on them by killing them or hurting them or fighting them or whatever, or going home getting our big brothers and sisters or mama and dad to go there and handle it for us, and then somebody loses their life over something that the person the person lost their life. That's true.
Right.
But I tell you what, the person that took that life, now they're going to have the rest of their life to sit and think about that, and that's also a life that's wasted.
Yes. Yes.
And in this case, it looked like about 5 lives that was wasted.
And just like you say, the domino effect of all of these lives
Yes.
that are being destroyed
Yes.
by one act.
By one act.
And a lot of times it starts with no value of oneself.
There you go. There you
That
go.
value of self, I don't care where you are or homeless. If you value yourself, you're going to act accordingly.
There you go.
And
There you
value
go.
is taught.
It's
It
taught.
is really taught.
There
It
you go.
doesn't fall out the sky.
No, it don't.
It's really taught. And then we want to just address a little bit about the protesters up in Lansing. I thought that it was very disappointing, unprofessional for law enforcement to be taking pictures with protesters that are protesting. The governors is trying to protect the whole state and saying we're going to open up responsibly. So we have law enforcement taking pictures with those protesters wanting the state to be open ahead of time. So it's those kind of things that should not be happening, because
because of circumventing what the governor was actually saying. I mean, because where's your support at for the governor?
Yes.
But you're standing there as a law enforcement officer taking pictures with people who's not wearing masks, who's not social distancing and other things like that, and it's really circumventing what she said. And I'll throw this in there then.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, what she put forth was to protect everyone, and I know she thought she was making the right decisions, and believe it or not, there's part of that stuff that the decision that was made that I didn't actually totally agree with, like going in Home Depot buying carpet and paint, because me being in that kind of business where I own apartments and I have to repair them, but I went in there when I was told I couldn't buy carpet and paint. I said, why not? And they said, well, the governor got an order out. And I looked at it and I said, okay, well, I guess I'll get to that one later.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll move on to the next one. Now, I mean, I could have had a bad attitude and said, look, I need my carpet and paint right now, but the bottom line is we follow laws, we follow order, and we keep order. That's what keeps this country going. That's what made this country great as it is. But the bottom line is, when you have people that's not obeying the laws, or the orders, if you want to call it a law order, and then it puts other people in danger, and everybody that went to that Capitol, I think I heard it said before, where they had to stop at a gas station to get gas, they had to buy food in the restaurant somewhere.
Yes.
So they're all out and they're not social distancing, and they're putting other people's lives in danger. And I tell you, it's I don't really know what's really needed to make them let them know that it's really real what's happening out here with this COVID-19. Unless it have not maybe touched home with them yet, but it sure have touched home with myself and friends of mine that I know, personal friends that have passed away from this COVID-19 virus. And it's just sad that some of us has not taken it as serious as maybe we should. And with the mask and the social distancing and the whole 9 yards.
And I'd like to add this: she is the chief executive officer. And even with a person that has been sworn and getting paid by tax dollars to serve and protect, she follows the governor's orders, and that's their job to do.
Yeah.
And you should not be allowed to usurp that, because again, you think about what children see.
Yeah.
If we talk about, a lot of times we want to blame the children or blame someone for misbehaving at a dollar store. Well, look at a grown person acting and disobeying a governor's order to not come out, just to stay at home. And again, a lot of times adults have a tendency to think about, well, do what I say, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, all the times, our children, all of us are watching what law enforcement does, what grown people does, what our mothers and dad does. We all are watching what other people do.
Well, we just heard.
And you have to have leadership. If there's no leadership, then there's chaos. Okay,
we just heard what happened with in Washington with President Trump and 2 of his closest aides, and I tell you, it's real. It's real. So
1 minute.
It's real. So but let's say this. This is real talk. This is
Yes.
real talk, and it was always a pleasure to have you here. And I know you want to have the last words. So
Yes, I always want to close out with our community and engage you guys. I'd like for you guys to consider reading a new book by Michelle Alexander. It's called The New Jim Crow. And also, I'm doing a startup business. It's called P&D Delivery Service. Hubert Roberts, 810-394-4105. And what I want to focus on is really providing a service for our seniors and those that have no transportation. I will come out and pick up your food and bring it to you, to your home. Thank you.
Yeah, to our listening viewers, we appreciate that. When we have people like that in our community that steps up and takes that banner just a little bit further, or carry that torch a little further to make sure that our seniors are getting what they need. And we appreciate that, and we thank you for that. But just to our listening viewers, we want to say thank you for listening, and stay tuned for our next show. I think it's next Tuesday. It's going to be every Tuesday following. So just thank you for viewing, and we appreciate the comments and concerns. And if you have any concerns you'd like to talk about, you can actually contact myself, or you can contact Mr. Roberts through the show, and we'll address those concerns on our next show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed week.
Be safe.